Have you ever asked God for a sign and then He didn't answer in the way that you expected? Well, today's story is about a guy named Gideon who asked God for two signs and God gave him both of them, which I guess is a sort of answer to a prayer, right? But let me explain. So Gideon was a judge in Israel and he was getting ready to fight against the Midianites. And he was afraid, understandably, because there were like 32,000 men in his army, and they were all about to go up against this huge army that was twice the size of his own. So Gideon was like, God, I need some help here. Can you give me a sign to encourage me to lead these people into battle? And God was like, sure, I can do that. So God told Gideon to take a fleece, which is like a wool blanket, and to put it out in the ground overnight. And then, whatever happens, God will use that to be a sign to him. So Gideon did that. He laid the fleece out and he waited. And in the morning he found that the fleece was covered in dew, but the ground around it was dry. So he was like, okay, God, I see your sign. Only the fleece is wet with dew, so I'm going to trust you and I'm going to lead these people into battle. Then, after he did that, he went back to his tent and he was like, okay, God, I have more faith now, but maybe just one more sign to confirm it. And God was like, ugh, fine, whatever. You want a sign? I got your sign right here. And God told him to do the same thing again, but this time to turn the sign around so that the fleece would be dry and the ground around it would be wet. So Gideon got up the next morning, and sure enough, the ground was wet and the fleece was dry. So Gideon was like, all right, I get it now. You want me to fight the Midianites? Okay, I'll do it. And so he led his troops into battle, and they defeated the Midianites. And then, later on, when Gideon became a judge, he had a statue made of him with a fleece on it to commemorate his victory. And the statue was placed in the temple of Micah in Israel. So, what's the lesson here? I mean, obviously, don't ask for two signs from God, because then you're going to have to defeat an entire army to get your happy ending. But also, we might not always understand why God gives us certain answers to our prayers. Like sometimes He might answer our prayers in a way that we expect, but sometimes He won't. And that's what happened with Gideon. Like at first, God answered his prayer in the way that he wanted, but then Gideon wanted another sign. And I think he thought that God would be annoyed by this, but he wasn't. Like he still gave him the sign that he wanted, even though he didn't really need to. And I think that tells us something about God, that He's willing to be patient with us and answer our questions and meet us where we are, even if we don't have the faith that He wants us to have.